We NDC certainly do. Furthermore, how can the EC justify the misallocation of BVRs intended for the eastern region to Akotumbra in the western north region and Ewutu Senya East in the central region? How can such fundamental errors be tolerated? Can we afford to let EC's work be riddled with such basic errors? Imagine the potential ramifications of similar mistakes on election day. These glaring failures have only reinforced our determination to demand a comprehensive audit of the Commission's equipment and ICT infrastructure before the polls on December 7, 2024. It has become clear that the EC cannot be trusted without stringent verification. This audit must encompass both hardware issues, such as outdated or incompatible equipment, and software vulnerabilities, including potential cyber threat to our electoral system. We are committed to ensuring the integrity of the biometric data previously captured and will leave no stone unturned in our pursuit of electoral transparency and accuracy. Issue 3, incorrect registration figures released by the Electoral Commission. Now, since the current EC commissioners led by Jean Mensah took over, the Electoral Commission has alarmingly perfected the malpractice of consistently churning out incorrect figures in critical electoral activities. We all vividly recall the debacle of the 2020 presidential election results, which were marred by multiple corrections of post-declaration. Multiple corrections post-declaration of results. One would expect that such glaring blunder would have served as a vital lesson. Yet it appears the EC remains resistant to change. How can a once esteemed commission falter so badly under the watch of a commissioner who fails to understand basic arithmetic? This raises serious concerns about the EC's capability to conduct a credible election, and the NDC is profoundly disturbed. And we are urging the EC to rectify these issues if they are indeed not deliberate. For instance, the EC published the registration figures for days 1 to 4 of the limited registration exercise on their website and social media on May 11, 2024. Our National Directorate for Elections and IT, tasked with independently verifying these figures for the NDC, immediately identified significant discrepancies between our calculations and those of the Electoral Commission. Simple arithmetic, accurately summing the regional figures from the 16 regions, would have clearly demonstrated to the EC that their numbers were wrong. Such mistakes are utterly avoidable. Why must Ghana's Electoral Commission be reduced to an error commission? It is imperative that the EC approaches the handling of electoral figures with the utmost seriousness, as these numbers are fundamental to the integrity of the elections. No voter should be disenfranchised due to careless errors. The EC must distance itself from any intentions of rigging and be warned. Any attempt to undermine the electoral process will be rigorously challenged and exposed. On May 12, 2024, the Electoral Commission issued a press statement acknowledging erroneous figures previously released and attempted corrections. However, they claim the total number of registered voters over the 4 days remain unchanged. This situation exemplifies what we term transpositional rigging of elections, where figures are shuffled between categories without affecting the overall total. The assertion by the EC that these errors in regional figures did not impact the total count is patently misleading. Upon scrutinizing their so-called corrected figures, posted on May 12, 2024, another layer of startling errors was uncovered. Initially, we pointed out only a fraction of the errors for the EC to reassess their data. Intriguingly, they corrected only those specific discrepancies we highlighted without conducting a thorough review of all other figures. It will astonish you, ladies and gentlemen, to learn that even their revised figures are still riddled with errors and need further corrections. For instance, in the OT region, the day 2 figure of 578 was erroneously swapped with the 3's figure of 1,515. If these figures are realigned correctly, the two's national total should be 18,330 and not 19,267. The 3's total should be 49,553, not 48,616. Similarly, the 3 figure for Bono East, as stated in their corrected data, is 771. But this is totally wrong. Bono East recorded 2,252 per hour data. This figure will affect the total registered voters of 5,118 for Bono East for the 4 days as stated by the EC. Indeed, the total should rather be 6,599, thereby leading to a grand total of 144,495 and not the 143,014 as put out by Dr. Bosman Asari in his press conference on the 12th May 2024. Now, members of the press, if EC officers are comfortably seated, who are comfortably seated in air-conditioned offices in Accra can commit such elementary errors, what can we then expect at the polling stations on December 7th? Such dubious behavior from the EC could destabilize our democracy if left unchecked. Imagine the potential chaos on December 7, 2024, if the EC continues to release incorrect figures. What will be the security implications of their actions? If this is their dress rehearsal for the upcoming elections, then they must be told that they need to reconsider their approach, because this time around, it will not be business as usual. The EC might be testing the waters with their rigging strategy by deliberately misrepresenting and miscalculating registration figures. Our prompt detection and exposure of these egregious errors should serve as a clear warning to the EC about the vigilance of the NDC. We are fully prepared to safeguard the sanctity of the coming elections. We expect the EC to now firmly renounce any intention, if it exists, to collude with the failed NPP government to rig the elections. Any such attempt will be decisively thwarted. The EC must commit to conducting free, transparent, unbiased, and credible elections. Despite the Electoral Commission's apparent display of incompetence before the Ghanaian public, we have no doubt about their basic capability to perform arithmetic. However, the persistent occurrence of calculation errors suggests a pattern that cannot possibly be dismissed as mere oversight. Should it emerge that these miscalculations are indeed deliberate, let it be clearly understood. Any stratagem intended to manipulate electoral outcome through dubious recalibrations and misrepresentations will be destined to failure. Attempt to deceive or outmaneuver the NDC through such tactics will be met with uncompromising scrutiny and decisive exposure. Ultimately, these actions will only serve to unveil the deceit of those behind them to the entire world. To the people of Ghana, we want you to rest assured. The NDC remains vigilant and unyieldingly committed to safeguarding your votes. We try to ensure that every vote is cast, every vote is counted, and every vote is acknowledged in its rightful value. We urge the EC to promptly rectify the inaccuracies in the data release on May 12, 2024. We expect a thorough review and correction of all figures to forestall further errors, upholding the integrity of our electoral process. Issue 4, busing of minors to registration centers and the abuse of the Ghana card. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we are compelled to address another grave concern, the flagrant abuse of the Ghana card. It has come to our attention that EC registration officials, in collusion with elements of the NPP, are misusing the Ghana card extensively. A particularly alarming instance was uncovered at the Pusiga Registration Center, where EC registration officer Muhazu Al-Hassan issued a single Ghana card, used a single Ghana card to register 20 different applicants. A single Ghana card to register 20 different applicants. Upon discovery, the police were promptly notified, leading to Muhazu Al-Hassan's arrests. Although he has since been granted bail pending further investigation, this incident raises significant concerns. The NPP's distribution of Ghana card to minors to facilitate their registration underscores a systemic manipulation of our electoral processes. The EC has lamented the registration of minors, yet conspicuously fails to challenge the National Identification Authority for issuing cards to these minors and misrepresenting their ages. Why is the EC's database not integrated with the NIA's to instantly verify the ages of new voters, especially when $54 million of taxpayer money was invested in 2020 to secure biometric registration capabilities? What purpose does the NIA serve as envisioned by President John Dramani Mahama if critical institutions like the EC cannot rely on it for essential verification and authentication during crucial national activities? The NDC is taking decisive action. We have directed our vigilant agents across the country to use the party's sophisticated age detection mechanism to identify and challenge any suspicious underage registrants. This proactive measure is crucial to preserving the integrity of our electoral system, ensuring that every vote cast is legitimate and reflective of the genuine will of the Ghanaian people. We remain committed to safeguarding our democracy against all forms of electoral malpractice. Ladies and gentlemen, the final issue we must urgently address today pertains to a disturbing series of security breaches that have compromised the integrity of this registration exercise. 1. In Brekum West, hoodlums deployed by the MP have terrorized registrants and NDC agents at the Benkasa Registration Center, physically assaulting everyone in the queue and specifically targeting our team with torture. 2. Similarly, in Nefutu, MPP thugs violently disrupted the registration exercise, attacking our registrants who were queued to register. Shockingly, Honorable Apenyo Makin threatened the regional police commander not to take any action over these incidents. In Asunafo South, notably in Kukwom, a group led by one individual known as Anointing have vandalized a registration center and assaulted both our party agents and the registration officials, all under the watchful eyes of security agents. Additionally, we have observed immigration officers and some overzealous police officers overstepping their roles by deciding who is eligible to register at various centers in the Volta, OT, Western North, Northern, Upper East, and Upper West regions, escalating tensions significantly. These officers must be reminded that their role is not to interpret the law, as the process for challenging potential registrants is explicitly outlined in Regulation 18.1 and 2 of CI 91. The directive to search vehicles moving to and from the Volta and OT regions has taken on a tone of selective intimidation, targeting citizens from these regions in a discriminatory manner. This intimidating intimidation must cease immediately. 6, we have also noted some security personnel at registration centers who are operating without displaying their name tags, effectively making themselves anonymous while on duty. We are issuing a stern warning to the EC and the heads of security agencies. Such individuals will be treated as impersonators and potential threats within these spaces. These incidents collectively paint a grim picture of the challenges faced during this registration exercise. They not only undermine the democratic process, but also threaten the safety and rights of every participant. Immediate action is necessary to restore faith in the system and ensure the security and integrity of our electoral processes. Finally, regarding the issue of obtaining the serial numbers of BVAs, we affirm our commitment to transparency as articulated by our national chairman, Honorable Johnson Esiedun Kitia. We urge our registration agents to meticulously track and record the serial numbers of the BVRs used during the registration exercise. And we are proud to report that our agents have risen to this challenge, enabling us to accurately monitor the data generated by each BVR kit. We extend our deepest gratitude to our agents for their diligence and urge them to continue the vigilant oversight of the registration officials at all centers. Our insistence on documenting the serial numbers of the BVR kits is driven by commitment to accountability and transparency, not by any motive of malice. If the Electoral Commission truly upholds the principles of fairness and openness, it should have no reservations about allowing our agents to record these numbers. The ability to do so is crucial, particularly if there is nothing to conceal. This practice is essential not only for ensuring the integrity of the registration process, but also for reinforcing public confidence in the electoral system as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, esteemed citizens of Ghana, even as I conclude, it is with a sense of urgent responsibility that we address the myriad of issues undermining the integrity of our electoral process under the current administration. The Electoral Commission, which should function as an impartial arbiter, has exhibited a worrying trend of negligence and incompetence that must not go unchallenged, even as we approach the critical 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Despite the EC's mandate to conduct free and fair elections, we have witnessed a systematic erosion of trust through its actions. Actions that starkly reflect the corrupt and cronyistic tendencies of the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia government. The NPP's veiled threats to retain power at all costs and the EC's complicity in these threats represent a direct assault on the democratic principles that Ghana has long been celebrated for. Today, we have laid bare the EC's continuous failings, from the questionable recruitment of electoral officers to the mishandling of registration processes and the flagrant security breaches orchestrated by those in power. These are not mere oversights, but appear to be part of a broader scheme to disenfranchise particularly the youth and suppress new voter registrations that are critical to shaping Ghana's future. Furthermore, we call upon civil society, the international community, and other political stakeholders to join us in closely monitoring the EC's activities. This broad-based vigilance is essential to ensure that the forthcoming elections truly reflect the will of the Ghanaian people. The NDC reiterates its unwavering commitment to defending the democratic rights of all Ghanaians. We will not stand idly by while the potential of a free and fair election is undermined. We will confront and contest any and all attempts to skew the electoral process. Our dedication to the democratic process remains resolute, and we are prepared to take all necessary actions to protect the integrity of the votes of the Ghanaian people. Let it be clear, the choice before the EC is straightforward. They can either conduct the duties they have been given with the integrity that the position demands and ensure a peaceful transition of power. Or the EC will face the full strength of a united and determined opposition. The Electoral Commission must not merely sit up. It must rise to the occasion with urgency and transparency. The EC is compelled to address the 35 critical questions posed by the NDC regarding the theft of the biometric equipment. The gravity of these issues cannot be overstated, and we demand clear and prompt responses. Furthermore, we insist on the initiation of an independent bipartisan parliamentary inquiry into the conduct of the Electoral Commission, particularly focusing on the stolen BVR kits, which were under CCTV surveillance at the Electoral Commission headquarters, and the mysterious disappearance of BVDs. Indeed, these EC actions in the coming days will signal its commitment or lack thereof to upholding the democratic process in Ghana. We would accept nothing less than full accountability and immediate remedial action to restore faith in our electoral process. Let me also use the opportunity to make this demand to the EC. On replacement of lost voter ID cards, starting from the 30th May 2024, the EC is expected to provide cards at no cost to the victims of the flood that happened along the Volta River and Lake. This is a demand. It's not a plea, it's a demand. In conclusion, we stand not just as a party seeking electoral victory, but as staunch advocates for democracy and the rule of law. The NDC is ready to lead, not only to correct the course of our nation, but to rebuild the broken trust between the people and the institutions designed to serve them. The path forward is one of restoration and renewal. And together with the vigilance and support of the Ghanaian people, would ensure that the future of Ghana is secured in the hands of leaders who truly represent their interests and their aspirations. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. And together, let us safeguard the sanctity of our electoral process and ensure a vibrant democratic future for our country. Thank you very much.
There's your favorite daily graphic and our weeklies: The Mirror, Graphic Business, Graphic Showbiz, Junior Graphic, and Graphic Sports on Graphic News Plus app. It's the digital